everyone. Cynthia Tomaine here with Interactive Brokers, and thank you for joining me today as we take an introductory look to the Trader Workstation. Our focus today is going to be on the Mosaic pre-formatted workspace. Now, for today's event, I do want to mention that the Trader Workstation does provide a state-of-the-art trading platform that's been built with the flexibility to handle all types of trading preferences. Our focus today is going to be on the Mosaic Workspace, a color-linked window, and that's available within Trader Workstation. New users, when you first launch the Trader Workstation, will see Mosaic by default, and that's the portion that we'll be going through today. Now, there's also a separate interface, Classic TWS, that's available for more complex order types and more advanced traders. So if you're just getting started, we do recommend that you start off with the Mosaic interface. Now, whether you're working in Mosaic or Classic TWS, you're still within the same trading platform. You just have different workspaces and different work groups set up, tabs for easy access. So with that, let's move right over into the desktop share portion of our event. Now notice I'm going to share my screen with you and see your window blank momentarily. And I've got one other piece to do here, and that's to put this into full screen access. Notice you now have full screen. I've made my version of Trader Workstation as large as I can on your computer monitor. You'll also see there's now a blue bar up at the top of the screen where you can activate the chat panel and send me any of those comments or questions through our event here today. Okay, so by now you should all be seeing my version of TWS. But before we get into the Trader Workstation, I'm actually going to start on the Interactive Broker website, because once you have opened and have an open and an approved account, you can log into the Trader Workstation by going up to the login button that appears right on our home page. Notice when we do hit the drop down, there's several selections. WebTrader is a scaled-back version of the full-featured Trader Workstation. It is available behind a firewall where access to Trader Workstation may not be visible. But do keep in mind that the WebTrader feature is available, but it's scaled back and doesn't include everything that we're going to be talking about today. So I wanted to point that out. You'll also find that we give you separate access to an account management system. That's actually your official account's books and records. It's where you can manage and maintain your trading account. But then there's the separate trading applications. Notice here, when we look at TWS, there's 3 different versions. Oh my, decisions already. Well, a couple things that I did want to point out here is, first of all, when you do see that beta indication, means that we are in the final stages of upgrading or adding any updates or enhancements to Trader Workstation platform. You can log into beta to see what those enhancements are, but because it's in beta, I do want you to be aware that features will change often as it's being developed or as they're tested. But do be aware, if you log into beta, you're still in a live trading platform, so be very careful. Now, there's also TWS and TWS latest. Why do we have 2 separate versions? Well, TWS, the one that just says TWS, is a static version of our trading platform. Trader Workstation is ever evolving with new features and enhancements that are constantly being rolled out. Now, if you do log into TWS, that static version, I want you to be aware that it hasn't been updated in over a year. It is a static version that doesn't update nearly as often as the full-featured Trader Workstation latest. Now, as you're getting started, what you'll find is the latest, most up-to-date trading platform is available on TWS latest. So simply click that button and you'll be brought to a separate login screen for you to download the version of TWS you just selected. Now, you'll notice that this screen actually shows you the information according to whatever operating system you're working on. Other operating systems are available here as well if you want to click that drop-down box. but you will need to download and run TWS locally. Now, the nice part about this downloaded version is that anytime upgrades or enhancements are rolled out, they'll automatically be included the next time you log into TWS. So for the latest in our trading software, simply choose to download TWS latest. At that point, an icon will be installed on your desktop. Let me simply take you over here, and you'll see the icon that's available. Clicking that icon will bring up our login button. Let's go back over to our home page first of all. Oh, and I want to take my bookmarks off of here. Let's take marks off. And so from here, what I did want you to see is that when you do click that login icon installed on your desktop, it will bring up a login screen. Now notice here that login, first of all, I'm going to be working in my paper trading account. Paper accounts are available to each of you as soon as your account has been opened and funded. Now, there's no additional cost for a paper trading account because we will mirror the same market data permissions and market data subscriptions, I should say trading permissions and market data subscriptions that you have for your live account. So in our simulated paper account, you can actually trade using live market quotes on a simulated platform, which means that you can create trades, actually even transmit them, but in your paper account, none of them will be presented for clearing. So it makes a great place for you to try out new features, functions, even different order types before you start risking your capital. Just make sure that you do get those expected results, and then you can move over and very easily trade from your live session. Now notice here that same login button gives you not only access to a paper trader, but to a live trading platform as well. So if you're going to be working in your production where all trades you are going to be responsible for, you'll see the login screen for live trading. But if you do want to log into your paper account, give it a try. Without risking your capital, simply go to the paper account. Oh, I meant to show you this. I'm going to go back to the live page because notice there's also a link that's included in the screen. If you're just looking at TWS, you may not have opened an account or may be considering it, you can actually go in and try the platform before you do start or before you do open an account. All that's required for this demo system is an email address. So if you want to give it a try, simply go through or even click on the free trial period that's available on the website. Now, I'm going to, because I do want to log into my paper account, I'm going to move this back over to the paper account setting. Now, before we do log in, though, I did want you to see there are different palettes that are available. Initially, when you first log into TWS, you'll find the dark palette is listed. And let's go into our live trading so you can see what that looks like. It actually does give you a representation right there in the login screen. Black backgrounds with white text are what's available in the dark palette. You'll also find that you could choose a light palette, which is a lighter background. Or note here that I go into the classic version. Now, classic TWS, by the way, all of the windows are it's just the different palette that's visible in the background. I wanted you to know that I'm working in classic because with these blue title bars, it makes better distinction with various windows that we're going to be talking about today. But whether you're working in any of these palettes, do be aware all of the windows that I'm going to be showing you are the same. It's just the background shading that differs. Now also here, notice there is a selection, and this should be set automatically the first time you do go to log in, and that use or store your settings on server. That's very helpful because when you first log into TWS, you will create a settings directory where all of your your monitor list, any ticker symbols that you've added, or any configuration choices that you've made will all be added into a JTS folder. It's located directly on your local drive, on C for Windows users, or in the user directory for those that are working on a Mac. Now, since they're stored on your local drive, it means if you do happen to find yourself at a different computer and want to log into Trader Workstation, you'll see the default settings. If you do have this selected, it actually puts a copy of your settings on our server. So regardless of the machine that you use, you can open up the settings file to a familiar look and feel without losing that information. So do be aware that going into it will give you access to those same configuration choices you've made on the local machine. By the way, this is available only with your user ID and password. Whether you're a live account or in a paper account, those settings will also be saved on our servers. Okay, so right now I'm going to bring back the Trader Workstation. I've already signed in to save some time. And notice here, well, first of all, we've got that those blue title bars here just to distinguish between each of the different windows that are the format for the Mosaic interface. Now, this down below, I mentioned before, you get access to both Mosaic and the classic version, or the classic spreadsheet-like version of the trading platform. I'm going to come down to the Mosaic because that's our focus here for today. But I did want you to see that you have access to all of the tools that are available in TWS, whether you're using Mosaic or the classic version. Now, something to keep in mind here as well. The Mosaic is color linked. Now here you'll be able to see, first of all, notice along the title bar, there are various menus that will give you access to certain fields and functions. I want to point at over on the right-hand side of the title bar, you'll find some additional icons that you may want to take a few minutes and simply browse. For example, the global configuration screen. I'm going to open that up, and this is the one place where you can make any settings choices or configuration choices throughout the platform. Here is where all of these will be saved, and or you can come in and make adjustments even on the fly. Now notice when we go into into the global configuration window, you'll find at first there is that left navigation panel with general pages that are applicable throughout TWS, and then specific product type information. Any place you see a plus in Trader Workstation, it will expand to show you additional subcategory headings. So next I'm going to go into the display settings here where you can make certain display choices. We'll be back in just a few minutes to discuss those. But I did want you to see that wherever you are in TWS, whether you access from our general title bar within any of these separate windows, those configuration menus will give you access to the feature that you're looking at. So, for example, I just opened up the configuration window from within my watch list, and you'll see that that gave me access to configure the watch list, and I can update any of the settings from there. Now, also notice, and especially if you are having difficulties, take a look on that dark palette with black background and white text. There's a font on here that will allow you to increase or decrease the font size. So if you want it a little bit more legible, notice simply clicking larger will update that font pixel by pixel. You can always choose smaller as well if you want some additional screen real estate. So do know that that's available. Now, the next selection here I wanted to point out is your layout is locked. This pre-formatted window, and it is color linked. Notice here the different linking icons all include that same green, bright green link icon in the title bar. What that means is that your ticker selection, when you choose a particular ticker, and let's go into, well, let's pick Disney today, and notice as soon as I make that selection, it then will pre-populate in all of these color-linked windows. Order entry is already loaded with that underlying ticker. Then you'll also find the quote monitor. Well, we came from the quote monitor, but I did want you to know that take a look at the quote monitor. When you do add ticker symbols here in the quote monitor or your watch list, and those are used interchangeably throughout TWS, notice that when I click a particular ticker, all of those color-linked windows will update. But when you see in the watch list, notice here that and by the way, when you first open TWS, you'll find a default or a sample list of ticker symbols. And we do that in many cases, whether it's our order entry field or in various other features here, that what is displayed is based on your ticker selection. Now notice here that in the watch list, we only include the last price and a change in price since previous day. The absolute change is indicated here, as well as the percentage change for that underlying instrument. So, by the way, take a look at colors. TWS uses colors throughout the application to give you at-a-glance information. Wherever you see green background shading, you can hear that it indicates an uptick in either or positive change in the since closing price previous business day, and then too that percentage change. But if you do want to view real-time market quotes, first of all, notice they're included in the order entry screen. We'll update in real time, so you'll see these will be updating. But if you want some more detail into that quote, the quote details window will also provide it. Here you'll see the last price is going to be indicated, and also notice there is a tick dot. Tick dots are included in wherever you have an underlying ticker symbol indicated, and that will show you directional movement. A green tick dot means the previous trade was done on an uptick, or when it turns red, it means that prior trade was, or last trade was done on a down tick. So you can see directional movement. Now, also in the details window, you'll be able to see the national best bid and offer, as well as the sizes available at each of those prices. By the way, for equities, notice it is in units of 100 shares each. So each of these here, it's talking about when we see 9, that means 900 shares versus 800 shares. So you can read that information right in the details. You'll also find the high and the low for the current trading session, as well as the 52-week high and low, so that you can actually make those comparisons. Earnings are included, and earnings per share and your price to earnings ratio, as well as different valuation, even implied volatility, and option open interest. So did want you to see that all of this is accessible. Now, notice there's also a configuration wrench here. If there's additional features that you want, by clicking that wrench icon, notice here it opens up global configuration, and you can choose or add any of these additional items by simply putting a check mark in that box. Remove a check mark disables that particular selection, and then simply click Apply and OK, and any of your choices will then be reflected in that window. You'll also find we have an embedded real-time chart. Now notice it too is color linked here, so you're seeing Apple information. It is a real-time chart, and notice here that you can choose automatic representation by taking with the time period for the candle. 10-minute candlesticks are shown here. The reason I mention an automatic chart is because this screen will actually fill or populate with as many candlesticks as will fit in the screen. But also notice you can't zoom in or zoom out. We have some tools that are located on each of these color-linked windows as well. And the zoom in and zoom out are deactivated. You still do have that capability if you have a mouse with the wheel in the center, whether it's a Mac or a mouse. That scrolling wheel actually gives you the ability, by scrolling up, notice here, I can effectively zoom in, or by scrolling down with that mouse, I can effectively zoom up and display a longer time period. You'll see the period along the bottom for those 10-minute candles. By the way, you don't have to work with automatic charts. If you prefer hourly candles, notice you can easily make that distinction. Or these are automatic charts, so keep that in mind, and the number of candlesticks will populate. Or you can go in and choose time period charts. So, for example, if I do want to go into a 1 month chart, I can open it up and choose the candle size as well. Now, with a time period chart, notice that zoom in and zoom out icons work here as well. So did want to point that out, that it is available, but what you'll see within TWS actually depends on previous choices that you've made. So just be aware of that. I'm going to also point out down below, notice here that we do have scrolling headlines that are available, and there are quite a few providers that are included at no additional charge within Trader Workstation. Let's go out to the website. I want to take you into YB, and here you can find, let me see, I'm sorry, it's under pricing. That's where I want to find this for you, is research news and market data fees. Notice that from here, we'll actually show you the different market data fees that are available on the platform. Notice that you can go down and take a look at those. You will need to subscribe to market data through account management, but you can review those markets that are available by simply expanding any of these selections. There are two different subscription prices, whether you're a professional trader or a non-professional trader. Now, the difference in these two fees are really based on your account structure. If you have the ability to trade for client sub-accounts, you will be charged the professional rate. If you qualify or if you trade for only yourself, non-professional fees will be available. When you open up account management to subscribe to those feeds, what you will find is whether you qualify as professional or non-professional. So it's listed in the account management section. I'm going to scroll back up to the top of this page and notice here that research, news, and so much more is available. We do have a research platform that's been integrated into the Trader Workstation, and quite a few free services available as well. Now, notice each of these you'll be able to access within TWS, and I just want to scroll through. And by the way, if you want to find out any additional information, for example, on Dow Jones Newswire, we have several different subscriptions available. Here you can simply double-click on any of those icons that are included on the page, and it will expand so you can get some additional detail. Now let's once again go back up to the top, or I'm going to go back into my research news, and you'll see that all of these are available at no additional charge. If you want to learn more about the services, simply drill down on any of these items that are included here. There are some services that are you will need to subscribe to, but many of these services are also provided with a free 30-day trial period. So if you want to try some of these out, you can do so within account management. I'm going to minimize that. And so here within our news, notice that several of those subscribed articles or subscribed providers are listed here. Also, notice that red flame. That's an indication to you that this is a hot story. That hot story is determined by the news provider, but where they do want to draw attention to particular articles, notice here you'll see that flame. By the way, you can also click the headline and be brought directly into that particular item or news article. So you can actually, from clicking the headline, you can open up and read the article. Now also notice there's an extra icon that's included in this title bar. For those of you, if you're like me, I have difficulty reading white text on a black background. So that small icon in the news title bar will actually allow you to review this in a web-based view, so black text on a white background. So keep that in mind. Okay. Now you can close out of this window and find that there are three separate tabs here. One is general market news. Another is a filtered feed. Now that filtered feed, when we open it up, you can actually configure how you want it filtered. Go into that configuration branch and into your settings, and notice that I could choose general news feeds, or simply select to view news for any items held in my portfolio. Well, let's put portfolio, and any competitors in that category as well. I could also select not only my portfolio companies, but all companies within my quote monitors and watch lists. When you make those changes, simply click Apply and OK, and that's now, notice here, how that bar is titled with it. Now, there's also, notice there, I hover over these bars, the ticker-specific tab is actually showing up. You'll have to hover on the tabs. If it doesn't fit within the title bar here, simply hover over what's there, and we can go into whatever ticker symbol that I've got selected and into those news articles. You can actually down see articles from previous days as well. So there's a lot of information here. By the way, also want you to be aware of tooltips that are available. Notice here, if you do want to see what that ranking column represents, simply hovering over that field, a tooltip or that blue rectangular box will open up. So we've got help embedded throughout TWS by simply hovering your cursor over any of the icons or any of the headers for our spreadsheet or our table right here. Also, let's take a look at the monitor. You do have a quote monitor where you can enter your watch list. As I mentioned to begin with, there are sample ticker symbols that are provided. But I also want you to see, notice here, there's an extra, there's several different tabs that I've created. You can create and customize any of these tabs here as well, and then name the tab by simply clicking that plus. Clicking the plus, you can open up a new watch list, a portfolio page, and notice I've already got it open. That portfolio page is going to show you any positions that you hold in your account. Also notice that you could run a market scanner. If you're looking for trading opportunities, our market scanners will search, search global markets in real time to return secure or different instruments that meet your trading criteria. That we do go through a separate webinar on the market scanners, but they can be added through this general watch list area. There's also market statistics and some predefined watch lists. Notice with the predefined watch list, you could choose from U.S. indices and ETFs, even U.S. treasuries, whether they're on the run or not. Also, corporate bonds. These are all available. I can populate, and notice I might take FX Trader and then simply make that section, and notice here how popular currency pairs will populate in that window, and it's also been given a new name. But if you want to create your own watch list, simply choose a watch list, and notice I've opened up a separate tab. We haven't named it, and I could rename it, and I'll simply call this a test. Well, I have to click within the field, and let's make this a test. So you can name your watch list anything that's going to help you identify them. Notice I now have a blank watch list. You can start to enter those ticker symbols that I either want to monitor or consider trading. Now, how do you enter those? Simply click in the financial instrument field, and then notice that you can add symbol. So I'm going to put in Cisco, for example, today. And by the way, any of the ticker symbols I use or display are meant to be illustrative, and they don't portray any sort of trading recommendation. Now notice when I've got Cisco, once you hit tab or enter, you'll see a separate floating window then opens up for you to identify the exchange that it trades on, as well as the instrument type that you're going to be trading. Notice here we do show you a stock selection. There's also next to it SMART that's indicated. Now SMART, when you do make this choice, What SMART is doing is you're actually setting up a routing destination for any of your trades on Cisco. When you choose SMART, SMART gives you an aggregate quote where Cisco may trade on 13 to 15 different exchanges or various routing venues. By choosing SMART, you'll see the national best bidder offer available where any of those market data quotes display. So rather than having to monitor quotation streams from multiple different providers, simply choosing SMART will give you that national best bidder offer. There's also futures, but keep in mind here with futures, these would be single stock futures that trade on the one Chicago exchange. Option contracts are also available, but let's stick right now with stock. Once I've made that selection, notice how it populates within the watch list, and all of these additional windows now already set up so that I can initiate a trade. You'll be able to see the last trade and the change since previous business day will be displayed. So notice if you do want to add options, I'm going to use that same underlying ticker symbol, and this time I'm going to go into options. You'll see a separate menu or option selector opens up for you to identify the expiration date as well as notice here we've got several expiration dates and various contracts. Now in the option selector, you'll see that the next 4 expiries will appear by default. But next you can add more by simply clicking that drop-down box. What we have listed here are all of the various expiries that are currently available in the markets. Now, notice I could go out to these monthly contracts. These would be our quarterly or weekly contracts, those that are highlighted in yellow. And then notice that even the leaps, the longer-term expirations, are available for January of 2018 and 2019. If you are interested in those weekly contracts, notice here, well, first of all, without that selected, you'll see just the monthly contracts are listed here, as well as the number of days left to expiration. Well, today is options expiration Friday, and you'll see 0 days. But going out to February 17th, an additional 28 trading days or to expiration. If you do want to view those weeklies, simply come down and make your selection. Now notice, because I did have the February date checked, notice that I've also included the weekly option contracts. So you can see prior to the monthly expiration, any other contracts that or the weekly. Next, the different text colors. That also gives you at-a-glance information. Monthly expirations are included with the white text, whereas any of those weeklies are identified as yellow text. Speaking of colors, you'll notice that in the options montage that just opened up, the calls appear on the left and the puts appear over on the right-hand side of the screen, with your prices differentiating between the two. Now, on this window, you'll also see color matters as well. Notice the different blue shadings, dark and light blue, over these call contracts. That's indicating these calls are currently trading in the money. Now, here also included is the underlying or the current quote, real-time quote for the underlying. You can tell that the 30 strike is currently trading in the money. So I did want to point that out. But also over on the put side of the equation, notice here these puts are currently trading in the money, which means those black and gray shadings are showing you which contracts are currently trading out of the money. Now, you can make your selection. You can move to additional windows on here. And notice, I'm going to go back to those monthly contracts, that if I were to hover over say, for example, the 32 call, it's currently trading out of the money, but take a look at my cursor. It's showing me a select button. If I were to select this particular contract, I can add a single option contract into any of my watch lists or monitors. Now, also, since we were on that, let's see here, and I'm going to expand this window. And notice I was on the 32 call, but if I come over to the put side of the equation and simply select, or by left-clicking in that row, notice that, I put the 31 put. Well, let me going to simply delete that, and I need it to come down to the 32 put. So you'll see both the call and the put. But also notice the other background shading indicates that you're trading, or this contract is currently trading out of the money, where green in a watch list indicates this particular contract is currently trading in the money. Now, in addition to viewing this information by strike, and notice here, as I'm hovering over each of these different strike prices, you'll actually see an additional tooltip that will come up and show you the standard deviation for this particular strike price. Notice you'll be able to choose your strikes either by the actual strike or by standard deviation. And you can do that with the strikes. Notice here the strike drop down up on top of your screen. Here we're taking a look at the 10 closest strikes to the at-the-money strike. And notice here how you can see that with the shading. But you can also choose to display this by standard deviation. So I'm going to go ahead and select 2. You'll see additional strike prices have been added. But notice when I hover over these, or each strike price, I get a tooltip that identifies what the standard deviation is away from the current pricing. So wanted you to see that that's available. By the way, if you would, instead of a tabbed view, you can always go into a list view. You'll see that list view includes all of those same strike prices, but note here that strike price column is separated by the expiration or last trading day. There's also an arrowhead that will allow you to collapse each of those sections. So if I don't want to see all of those options that are going to be or expire today, I can simply close that down. Additional items, if you continue to scroll, notice we go out to those other expiries as well, or our last trading days. For example, I can open up March, and now from here you'll see additional strikes that are also included. There's different trading classes, especially if you're going to be trading futures. You'll find that weekly future contracts, if you want to find those weeklies, you'll have to go into a different trading class to identify those. And then there's also mini option contracts for Alphabet, Amazon, and a few others. You'll find a mini contract where the multiplier is 10 underlying shares instead of 100. So this actually allows you to identify certain options and add those to your watch list. All right, we've added an equity and options. Let's actually go into a futures contract. Now I'm going to add the E-mini S&P, and when I click Tab or Enter, the floating menu pops up again. But be careful. If it's the E-mini S&P you're looking for, don't select Stock and Smart, because that actually represents Eversource, a corporation that trades on the New York Stock Exchange. What you'll need to do is go down into your E-mini S&P, and Globex is the home destination or routing destination, and choose futures. So to the option selector, you'll see we have a future selector that opened up with the next monthly or quarterly contracts here for the underlying. So you choose either our near-term expiration or actually even go further out. Now, so I do want to point out, we have with this year have started offering continuous futures contracts. Now these here are going to be give you some additional information and may be helpful when charting the underlying, because rather than the limited lifespan of each of these quarterly contracts, the continuous contract will give you a longer-term view, helpful if you want to establish trends within the underlying or when trading from the chart. So I'm going to simply select March of 2017, and you'll see that will populate. Now, also, there's other products that are available, but in this case here, I'm going to just put BUR.USD, or the currency pair. If you're trading currencies, this would be Euro-dollar currency. When I tab or enter this time, you'll see here a separate window comes up for you to identify whether it's cash or the Forex that you want to trade or CFDs. CFDs are not tradable for U.S. clients, so I'll simply go with Ideal Pro and click OK. Now notice there was no other selection, and what's just populated here, you'll see the current current price for that particular underlying. So when you create that watch list, you now have you can initiate trades, whether it's from the watch list or directly within the order entry window. Okay, so let's move over. I'm not seeing any questions, and if you do have questions, by the way, remember the blue bar that appears up on top. Simply open up your chat panel from there, and I'm monitoring that chat if you do have any questions on what we're talking about. Okay, back to the windows that are available here. Now, in order to trade, you will need, I do want to point out, a single order entry window. Now, the basic difference between Mosaic and the classic version of TWS is this order entry panel. In Mosaic, it's a single order can be created and transmitted at a time. You can create multiple orders, but they'll have to be added individually. In the classic version of TWS, where you have that spreadsheet-like interface, notice here, clicking the bid price creates a buy order, or clicking the sell price or the bid price. Clicking the bid price creates a sell order. Clicking the ask price creates a buy order. You can create multiple orders. You can mix them with different products that are available on this screen, but it's clicking the bid or the offer that determines what type of trade you're going to do. So in this window, you can add multiple trades all at once, or in the Mosaic, it is a single order entry window at a time. Before I drop off this page, I'm going to go in and simply choose cancel and cancel all those orders I just created. All right, and we'll go back to Mosaic. Okay, so now, and let's go on to my favorites tab. If I want to enter a trade, notice what I'll do is let me come in, and I'm going to choose Disney. Now, Disney, you'll see, is automatically populated in the order entry window. Now, notice there's a blank spot here. If you did have a position in this underlying ticker, you'd see that position box indicated here. With no position box, it means don't have a position in Disney. Now, also notice that you've got your bid and ask prices are included directly in that order entry window. This will allow you to create and manage your orders in real time. But also notice here, and especially where there's more than just a penny-wide bid and ask, you can also go in and simply select at the midpoint. If I do click at the midpoint, notice how that translates in the limit order price for my in this order entry panel. What I'm going to do is just put that back to 0, and we'll tab out of here for a moment. Other buttons that are available in the order entry window give you at-a-glance information. Notice here if it's shortable or not. Now, you don't have to do anything different when you're shorting shares within TWS. If you don't hold those shares in your portfolio, TWS automatically recognizes that as or any trades or negative trades will actually to sell that product. If it's not included in your portfolio, TWS recognizes it as a trade to sell short. Now, notice the shortable field hovering over that field also gives an indication whether there are sufficient shares available to short this particular underlying. Well, with Disney, we've got plenty of shares here, but for those that may be thinly traded, or if we don't have a locate, may not want to be bought out. So you'll see different colors here. But you can find out both the fee rate and the rebate rate from within this window. Even go into our stock loan window here, our stock loan tool that will give you historical borrower rates as well. Now, also option chains. We saw we could open up option chains before within any of your quote monitor screens. You can also take a look at option chains, and it opens up that same option selector by simply using the button that's included in the order entry panel. But for now, we're simply going to close that out. Right, so we took a look at the information that's provided in the order entry window. Now you can go ahead and make your trades. Clicking the buy will actually initiate a long order. Note the background shading changes to blue, or if you want to sell, the sell button also changes the background color for that at-a-glance information. Now, whether you buy or sell, you can always come back and make those adjustments. Now, after clicking buy, I did want you to see that there is a default order type that's available throughout Trader Workstation regardless of the instrument that you're going to trade. Quantity is going to be set to a single unit for the instrument that you're trading. Options and futures, it'll be a single contract each. Equities, you'll see 100 shares, so that single unit of 100 shares. While you do have the ability to trade odd lot shares on the platform, by default, it will automatically pull up that single unit. Now, I also want you to see that when you're trading currencies, that single unit actually, and I'm going to navigate away from this for a moment, when you do want to create a single unit, notice the quantity fills, and this is showing you an approximate 25,000 US dollar equivalent. So that's the default quantity for all of your currency pairs. Now keep in mind you can always click in that field and set additional parameters for any of those trades. But we'll go back to Disney. Right now I'm not going to work on Forex trades, but I did want you to see that it is available. So let's start with a buy of 100 shares. I like to work in round lots, so I'm actually going to bring that up to 1,000 shares. Now, whether you click within this price font or simply type over, and let's put in, say, I'll have to type over here, I put in 700 shares. Notice whatever you enter here will be the quantity for your trade. Now, I'm going to come back and we'll choose that 1,000. Now, the next default item is your order type as well as your time and force. These limit a day limit order for the default number or single unit of the instrument is by default within Trader Workstation, but you've got the ability to go in and make adjustments. Now, notice after I change the quantity, it is a limit price. There are over 6 different order types that are available, but when I click that drop down, notice I'm only seeing a handful of different order types. Wherever throughout the application you happen to see that drop-down arrow, it means additional features are available. They just don't appear on the active menu selections. So clicking that, notice how menu expands to show you additional features that you have enabled on your version of TWS. Now, if you have it enabled, it doesn't mean that they're not available. It just means that they're not being displayed in that active menu selection. Keep lengthy choices in any of your menus. We do truncate those menus to just what you use actively on a regular basis. The order types that have been used in the previous 2 weeks will display here, but if you want to find a separate order type, simply click within that box. Now choose Market on Close, for example. Notice as soon as I make that selection, you'll see the fields will then shuffle around to show me what I need to enter in order to place this trade. But what I also wanted you to see is that notice the next time I go in, that Market on Close order type is now one of my active choices. If I don't use that order type in the next 2 weeks, it will be deactivated and you can still access it using that arrowhead. But let's go back to the limit price. Now, once again, you can click either the price. Notice that the ask price actually pulls in that current price into your order entry screen. Or you could click the bid price and take it a few pennies away from the market. Remember bid, or that line that appears between the bid and offer, you can also choose to go in at the midpoint. Once you've made that selection, move on to the next here, which is your time and force. Now, time in force that's going to be displayed is a day order. That's the default, good till cancel, or at the opening. Now, also notice, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Different sections here. I clicked by, but notice, fill outside of RTH. RTH, what does that mean? Well, that's regular trading hours. So if you do want to enter your trades in pre-market open or post-market trading hours, notice here you can simply put a check mark in either of those boxes. For other choices, for example, notice here you can expand using that arrowhead. Now, if you do want to see there are extended hours available, I'm going to come back and let's double-click on the Disney that's included in my watch list. Now, this is a configuration choice. When you do double-click, it will actually open up a description of the underlying that you're trading. You'll see the underlying, what type of security is, its home exchange, as well as its routing destination. And here we've selected Smart. Additional trading hours are available, and now you also get access to company fundamentals. It's one of those features that is free on the platform. So you can review price and volume information, financial summary. By the way, these are actually hyperlinked to our fundamental data. So you can get a bird's eye view of what's going on with this particular underlying. If you don't have that set up, and I'll show you in just a moment, you can still access that page by right-clicking on the ticker symbol. And then what I'm going to do here is go down to the arrowhead, and if you used it recently, notice contract information and description is how you can access that same page. I'll show you how to do that in global configuration in just a moment. Okay, so here we are back trying to create this order, and what I'm going to do is take this, choose the limit price now, and take it a few pennies away from the market. We can change this to a good till cancel, and then notice everything for that trade has just been created, so I can submit from here. Now, do submit. Notice an order confirmation window opens up for you to verify the order you just created. Now, this is an electronic trading platform, so keep in mind any of the trades you transmit when you're working in your account will actually be presented for clearing, and you will be responsible for those trades. So make sure you try this out in your paper account first. But notice that when the order confirmation window opens up, you'll see a recap of the order description by 1,000 shares. Take a look. Text is blue, which corresponds to the blue background, so that you know you're going long the number of shares or contracts are listed here. Other criteria is listed below, but then we have some messages. Now, the messages are saying my order size exceeds a size limit of 500. Does that mean I can only trade 500 shares? Absolutely not. It's just a precautionary measure. Because you are trading live within the application, you are responsible for all your trades. We do have certain precautionary measures set up in our order presets, which will alert you, for example, here, if you've exceeded 5 times the default size limit. Remember, I said for equities, it would be 5 or 100 shares each. That default or precautionary measure at over 500 is here. It just warns you. You can go down and override and transmit. Or you can change, if you typically do trade in 1,000-share lots, you can always change that number as well by simply clicking, putting a mark here, and updating that information. Now notice the second warning message is that you've exceeded the value of $100,000. Well, once again, it's a precautionary measure, and that is just a basic trade to make sure that you're aware that you may be trading a large quantity prior to actually transmitting that. Notice you can change that limit price too. So once again, if you typically trade over 100,000 for each individual trade, you can up that limit to say 500K, whatever it is that you typically do trade. Now, the rest of the window also contains helpful information. Notice here the amount of your trade is set at 107,000, or 1,000 times of the ask price or the ask price, whatever we had included in the order entry window. I'll also see the estimated commissions should this trade actually fill, and then notice the margin impact area. This is going to show you your current equity with loan value, initial margin requirements, and maintenance margin requirements. This will allow you to make sure that you have sufficient value in your account if it's going to trigger a margin trade. We also show you that margin, what the margin would be for this particular trade. And notice here the change is showing you 26,000 would be applied to margin. Well, that's about 25% of the overall value. And I do want to point this out because for active traders, this we do provide reduced margin requirements intraday. So throughout the trading day, you have the full access to margin capabilities within your account. But be aware that prior to the end of the current trading session, for example, your Reg T margin will revert back to the 50% overnight requirement. So just want you to be aware that while we charge only during active hours, just ahead of the close, this will revert to those overnight requirements. If all of this is acceptable, you can simply override and transmit. And now notice that we've got the information is displaying an activity monitor. Here you'll see the contract, notice your account, whether you're buying or selling, and it's going to be color-coded at a glance, the order type, and your limit price. Now notice here the amount ordered is showing you it has not updated, but as that you do get any partial fills, you'll see the numerator update and the denominator will actually start reducing until you have been completed. Now notice you can always go in and send a cancellation request up till the time that this actually did fill. But then also go back and make adjustments on any working trades. Now, well, before I make an adjustment, I do want to point out the very first item here in the activity panel is an order status color. Once again, with colors to give you that at-a-glance information. So here, what you will see is if you hover over it, notice it's going to tell you where that order, first of all, if it's active or if it's being held in our system, and what exchange. Notice as well, it's showing you the current price. Now, you can access those order status colors from the guides and documentation menu. Notice there's an online user guide. Oh, we were just filled, and you'll see what appears down here. But let's go into the user guide. When you open the user guide, it is going to give you a table of contents where you can drill down additional features. And notice here, if we want to go into trade, you can continue to drill down. Now, there's an index, which is a list, an alphabetical list by keyword. So if you're looking for something in particular, you can simply scroll down and locate, for example, model portfolios, and clicking this link will show you how to create those. But there's also a terrific search field. And here, I'm going to type in order status. And if you've added it before, you'll find, well, let's see, order status colors is what I'm looking for. When I go to click search, you'll see that the user guide returns all pages where status colors are discussed, but they're returned in order of relevance. So it's order status colors you're looking for, and is that clicking that top entry, you can view all of the different colors that may be available. Take a look here, different colors. Now notice that bright green color that we see indicates your order has been accepted and is working at its destination, which we saw was the NYSE. status colors, for example, dark blue, will let you know that the order has been accepted, but may not have been elected. For example, a stop order. It may be waiting for that stop election price. So you can see the different shading for those order status colors. By the way, if you do send a cancellation request, you do need to, there are several different colors that are included here, but it is that red order status color that lets you know you are out of that trade. So I want to show you that that's available from within TWS by going to the Help menu. Okay, okay, so we talked about the order status color, and now notice I've just been filled. By the way, take a look here. You see I've been filled. So the next tab that's included in our activity monitor is the Trades tab. Oh, dear. I'm going to have to go in and make an adjustment, which, by the way, is a tip for you. The Trades tab in Mosaic is only going to show you the current trading day. So I'm going to revert back to the current trading day. But in Classic TWS, you can see up to the previous 7 days worth of transactions. But for now, by changing this back, I'm going to close the window. We'll go back over into the Mosaic, and now notice when I go into the trades, I'm only seeing trades for the current trading day. So if you want to see more, you'll have to activate that within Classic TWS. Now, notice here the time that it was filled. It's showing you the underlying, and it's also showing you the total quantity and the price. But look at this, the exchange, NYSE +2. Well, there is one way that I can show you the beauty of our smart routing technology. It's this field right here. Notice that when you click the plus wherever you've been filled in multiple different tax lots, clicking that plus will show you those fills. So here you'll see 300 shares was filled at NYSE, another 400. But that with TWS and that smart routing technology, that it routed and rerouted your trades all within milliseconds. And I'm going to expand this. Notice, all within milliseconds to get you the fastest fill at the most favorable price. So here's a great way to see the benefits of trading using our smart routing technology. Okay, so I'm going to close out. Now, what I also want to do is let's go back. We filled a little bit quicker, so I'm going to take this some pennies away. We'll go with the basic orders, and I'm going to submit this once again. Notice I'm under that 500 shares, so no warning messages did come. I'm going to choose to transmit. Now, if I go back to my order panel, you'll see I've got a working order. Notice that you can go back and make a modification at any time up until that order fills. So I'm going to bring it a little closer to the market and change that limit price. But look what happened on my screen. It is now showing me brown background shading and a update button. Now that's an indication to you that you have modified the order. Hovering over those fields, you'll be able to see where the modification occurred. I changed the price on this trade, but when you hover over it, notice the current price is that previous price that I entered. In order for TWS to accept this modification, simply click the Update button. You'll see this is now set up to occur at a different limit price. Anytime up until the trade fills, notice here you can also send a cancellation request, and here we have that red order status. So I did want to show you that's how those order statuses do work. Now, I do see some questions have come in. Let's go back to some of your questions. If you enter multiple orders in Classic, do you have an opportunity to preview them before confirming them? Absolutely, Rose. Now, just as we saw that order confirmation window pop up, notice that in TWS, and I'm just going to put this in, let's go in, and any of these selections, I'm just going to click the ask price. Notice when I do go to transmit that order, and you'll see the transmit button, background is showing you the same as a buy, so you know at a glance whether you're going long or short. I'm going to go ahead and transmit this, and it's your order confirmation screen that will pop up. But take a look, Rose. You do have the ability to turn that display not to display the message again and still transmit that order. I'm going to let's go ahead, we'll transmit that order. But notice here, I can send that cancellation request before it actually does fill. But what I did want to do is show you here, once you've turned it off. So notice, and let's take this one, I'm going to take my price away from market. Once I transmit this, notice that having turned off that order confirmation, it automatically went through. So what I'm going to do is take you into global configuration, where let's go into our settings, and notice under global configuration, the message section, and throughout TWS, anytime you do see a message that you have the opportunity to disable, you can always re-enable through global configuration. So notice here, confirm order submission, I have it turned off. I'm simply going to put a checkbox and click apply and then click OK. So now if I do go in, let's send a cancellation request. Now if I do go in and we'll create this order once again and get away from the market and then transmit. Now here I get that order confirmation back. So if you turn it off, you can always turn it back on in global configuration. Okay. Amrit is asking in Mosaic, can you open up multiple order entry windows to enter multiple trades? Unfortunately, no. It's only a single window that's available in the workspace at a time. Because notice, if I did want to create an order, you can create multiple orders, but you'll have to transmit each order before you can go back and create another one. So do keep that in mind. So for example, let's choose, I've got Disney and Facebook. Notice as I start creating a Disney order, if I don't transmit it, navigating away from it will actually reset the order entry window, which we don't want. So you're going to be entering, you can enter multiple trades, but if you're going to enter multiple trades from that same trading screen, just be aware only a single order can be processed at a time through the Mosaic panel. Now, let's see. Okay, we've got another question. Scott is asking, you've got 2 IRAs and 1 trading account. Can you combine all of these with the positions into one Mosaic? Well, depending on your account structure, you should be able to link those accounts through account management. So please check out the account management user guide on how to link those accounts. Now, notice here, there are account menus where if you've got, I actually do have some separate strategies that I've created, but if you've got access to multiple accounts, you can easily check between each of those accounts using that drop-down arrow that's included in each of the individual section or individual window title bars here. So once you do have that, you'll be able to add those, but it will be separate. That selector is also available in your portfolio tab. Notice here where you do have positions, it's going to display, but we can go into the, the account window. Now the account window, I'll talk about that in a moment. Notice that you do have here too is where you'll be able to choose from any accounts that you do have access to. I'm going to close out of that window for right now. So if you are trading in multiple accounts, you can access them once linked through that drop-down menu. Okay, where can you see, I'm asking, where can you see realized or unrealized gains and losses? Well, note it does display in your portfolio window. Now, the portfolio window, as we were just taking a look, we do have different accounts that are available, but the portfolio is going to show you all of the positions built in your account. It opens up in the watch list area, but you'll find that you cannot add any information or additional tickers into this window because it is system generated. Anything that's held in your account will appear here. Now, notice that I do have different strategies. Now, for individual accounts, you can create different rebase strategies using our portfolio builder. I'm going to simply open up the portfolio builder. We're not going to go into that today. But if you do create those multiple strategies, you'll also be able to separate those, follow those individually. Notice here I have a separate growth strategy, yield, but then there's an independent selection. Now, independent means those positions that I hold in my account that are not included in either of these strategies. So I'm going to simply go in and expand the independent side of the account. Notice on here, you'll see I'm just looking at this. It must be a new feature that was just rolled out. But on the portfolio window, I want you to see there is a daily P&L column. Daily P&L is just that. It's the gain or loss that you have during the current trading day. If you do notice here, you can see your position, whether it's a positive position or not. You can also see the market value, which is included by default. Now, last price that was traded, and by the way, notice here, anytime you see a C, hovering over that feature will show you when that last, that's the closing business or closing price, and it gives you the day that price was available. There's also, and if we move to the side, there's also an average price that you paid. So you can view the average price directly here. But notice too, as you hover over any of these headers, you can insert different columns. This opens up a separate window where you can choose position in P&L, and let's go in and we'll choose unrealized profit and loss. Now, your P&L will not be realized until you close out of that position. So you could, if you are an active trader, you can also choose realized P&L after you've added that unrealized gain and loss. So notice now, we now have unrealized profit and loss on each of these ticker rows. So you'll see here for Caterpillar, I currently have 1,133 shares. My market value is this amount, but notice that based on current you'll see unrealized, or my daily P&L is up $883, but overall, take a look, my unrealized gains or losses are indicated here. Green is positive, red is negative. So you can add that to the window. Now, also, by the way, the right click. If there's one tip I can give you, it's utilizing your right click. And it depends on where you right click. So notice I'm going to go up to the column header, unrealized gains and losses, and when I right click, I get a separate floating menu. Now notice on this floating menu, expand that selection. Remember, if you're not seeing everything you expect, that arrowhead will show you all items are available. And notice here, you can choose how you want that value displayed. You can choose to display the absolute value, which is what's there now, a percentage instead, or even to choose both. So I'm going to go ahead and make that choice, and now notice it's showing me the absolute unrealized gain or loss and the percentage that represents. This here for and I'm pulled down into, we'll see for Apple. Notice I've got, based on my average price, and by the way, you can expand over here to see what that average price was. So you can view the information directly within your quote monitor screen. By the way, you can also access your account statements as well that will give you that information. Okay, so whether you're looking at this, and by the way, each of these column headers can actually be collapsed. Put your cursor between each of the various column headers, and you can click and drag to resize that particular column. By the way, if you're hovering over a field you don't use, you can also remove that field and simply select yes, and notice that's no longer visible. So here we do have that quote monitor list. By the way, if you're adding quite a few different columns, there's a wealth of multiple different market data columns. You can add those to any of your watch lists as well, but it may be too big for you to view in this window. So keep in mind, double-clicking on a blank spot in the title bar will expand that window into full screen access. Double-clicking again collapses that window back to its spot within the Mosaic layout. So you can view that information as well. Okay, let me see. There's quite buttons in here. If you do want to take a look at your portfolio profile, notice that there's several buttons that are included in that window that will give you some additional information. Different risk metrics will be available. You can actually evaluate your performance based on gain and loss or any of the Greek risk factors as well, but I'm going to close out of that for now. You can also find your margin information included directly in the screen. But as we saw before, there's also an account window. The account window will give you, and once again, I've got multiple different sheets, so I'm going to take a look at just what's available on the independent side of my account. Now, this page here actually includes multiple different sections. For example, your account balances. Through the menu, you can choose to show help instead of or enable tooltips. That's what I wanted to do. Now, once you've enabled the tooltip, notice as you hover over any of these fields, you'll get a tooltip, that blue rectangular box, that shows you a description of the field that you're looking at. So hover help, and that's what we call here, it's hover help. Hover over the field you want to see, and a tooltip will give you an expanded description. Now, net liquidation is going to let you know if you were to liquidate everything in your account right now, what that value would be. These values within the window update automatically anytime a transaction is posted. So whether you buy or sell, add a deposit, or withdraw funds from your account, this window will update automatically. Now, also, if there are no transactions, take a look down in the lower left-hand corner. You'll be able to see it actually updates every 3 minutes throughout the trading day, or immediately when any transaction is posted. Your margin requirements are included here. And notice that any of your predicted option requirements, I'm just going to, we happen to be on option expiration Friday. There's post-expiration option or prediction here, so you can see if you have sufficient value, should that option be, or once the option does expire, depending on the results, it will be exercised if it's according to OCC regulations. If it's a penny in the money, it will be exercised. If it's a penny out of the money, it will be it will lapse. So did want you to see that that all is included in your margin requirement section. Another section on available for trading, and this is going to show you available funds and current excess liquidity to make sure that you've got sufficient value in your account before you put on that next trade. There's more information that's included here, and by the way, notice we do offer portfolio margin, but for portfolio margin, you do have to have a minimum balance of $110,000 in your account to qualify for that portfolio margin treatment. If you're not sure on your account if that's going to be a benefit, notice the Try Portfolio Margin button that's included here. This is going to warn you that if you have a highly concentrated position, it could cost even more than Reg T margin requirements. But I'll go ahead and click OK. And now notice what my current margin requirements are. But if I did apply for portfolio margin, notice how much additional value I could free up within the account. The difference between $1,310,000 and $661,000. So you can actually view that. If you do want more information about our portfolio margin, notice we actually even include a link in this what if box. But I'm going to close that out. Okay. All right, so here is the account window. Now notice there are two sections down below. Market value, which is your real FX balance, as well as a FX portfolio. Now, this portfolio, and just quickly show you that this does display a contract-style view of any of your currencies. This is what allows you to view any realized or unrealized gains and losses in those pairs. But this is a virtual view. Your real currency can be found and traded up above in the real FX balance. So just don't let this confuse you. This is a contract-style view, but you should not be trading from this window either, because remember, your real currency balances can be found and then also traded up above. The portfolio section. Everything that's included in the portfolio section of the account window is also available in your portfolio tab within TWS. Okay, we have, I'm not seeing any additional questions. So what I'm going to do at this point is invite more questions. Remember, your chat panel appears up at the top of the window. But I also have a piece of business that IB's management requires in each of my events, and that's to elicit feedback from you. So notice I've got a polling panel I just opened up on your screen. There are 3 short questions and 2 are multiple choice. So I ask that you take a quick moment, make your selection, and then use the submit button in the lower right-hand corner. Now, that allows me to compile those results. I do review this with management team on a weekly basis, so your input here is very helpful. I do appreciate it. Okay. Now, also, there's a text field, and the poll just ended, so thanks, everyone. If you have suggestions or comments on topics you'd like to hear more about, that input field always makes a great place to put it, because I do review this with management. But since the poll already ended, you can always send those comments or suggestions to me at webinars@interactivebrokers.com. So thanks, everyone. Appreciate that feedback. Excellent. All right. To open a portfolio margin, Christopher is asking. I want to be sure I heard correctly. Did you say that to open a margin account, I need to have 110? Oh, absolutely not. Let me take you back over to our website. And I'm going to, and there was the home. Let me see if I can go back, because this here is that home, the window we were just taking a look at, and here you can find some additional descriptions about each of the panels that are enabled on that on your account window. But I'm going to go back in to our main website, and also notice here I'm going to go into trading. Let me see, is it in the trading? Pricing. Required minimums. Here we go. Notice here the different minimums that are required in your account, and you can see that listed on this page. So here you'll see individual accounts, what that minimum is. You can also apply for a fortune account from within account management as well. On this case here, notice any of the notes, you must maintain at least $2,000 in or U.S. equivalent in your account in order to maintain that margin account. Now, up at the top of this screen, or let me see if I can scroll down, you'll find that there's additional fees, and let me see if I can find, here's your linked accounts. Notice here, so you do have the ability to link accounts, and may want to take a look at portfolio margin. Well, it's not included on this page, so let's, at this point, I'm going to go into trading, and here we do have margin. So if you're looking for something, by the way, always use the search field on the website, and you'll find all of the different selections according to keyword. So note here, once I go into margin, you can find the margin requirements for each of the instruments that you have available for trading. And also, there is portfolio margin. This will give you some additional information, Christopher. So just keep that in mind. It only takes $10,000 to open an account. You can apply for margin. the margin account, but it's portfolio margin where there is a basic minimum. And you want to make sure that your portfolio margin account balance is you maintain balance above 110,000. Should you do below 110,000, your account automatically reverts back to Reg T, which could initiate some unpleasant requirements if you exceed your margin value. Okay, good question, Christopher. Thanks. All right, let me see. Any other questions? And so before we go, I do have something else I want to show you. And notice, it is these question marks. Whenever you see a question mark in the title bar of any of these pages, notice that simply clicking that question mark opens up our cheat sheets. We do have cheat sheets that will give you additional information, for example, with the order entry window. So notice what we just reviewed earlier are callouts, and it does describe what each of the features or sections within the order entry window are. And there's access to the user guide as well as an advanced panel. So I did want you to know that that's available, and you can easily access them by simply locating any of these question mark icons, and that cheat sheet will open up. Now, by the way, I have been recording today's information, and I'm also going to take you out to the Interactive Broker website, to the education menu. Here, there's a webinar section where you can sign up for any of our upcoming live webinars by simply going in and viewing the events. And notice here, you can register, and where there are webinar notes, you can even get a preview of what we're going to be discussing. So register or simply download and view those webinar notes. Now we're going to move back a page, and did want you to see that recorded webinars are also available. I know we talked about some other topics here today that I wasn't going to go into. For example, Portfolio Builder. These are some more advanced topics. And if you do want to review the Portfolio Builder, you can go in and listen to any of our previous recordings, or simply go into the webinar notes and follow along. So just wanted you to see that that's available as well too. So now also underneath the education menu, there's also documentation. As we were just talking about the cheat sheets, notice here there are cheat sheets that are available for the Mosaic window. So you can view all of our cheat sheets by going into, looks like this is actually a different representation from the other cheat sheets we have within the application. So just all kinds of tools that we do have available for you. But if there is one tip I can give you while you're learning the platform, it is utilize your right-click menu. Notice you right-click on a column header, you get a intuitive navigation in this window here. And also remember that drop-down arrow will show you additional features that you may not have recently used. Now, if you right-click here, if I right-click over a ticker symbol or at an existing order, I can transmit, discard. I can even check the margin impact directly from here. So there are tool tips and icons available throughout TWS. Take advantage of them and take 4 or 5 minutes and just simply right-click all around the platform. Well, with that, since I'm not seeing any additional questions come in, we're going to end today's session right on time. I'm going to stop my desktop share, take you over to the event window where you can exit using the X in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Now, I have been recording today's event, and I will be compiling and uploading it to our server, and as soon as it's available, you'll also get a direct link to that record playback as in case you want to come back and review concepts that we did discuss today. Remember, the cheat sheets are available. There's also access to the user guide as well. So with that, we are going to conclude our session. Hey, it's Friday. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the time off, and can't wait to see you next time on any of the upcoming webinars. Thanks for your participation with me here this afternoon. Have a great day and a great weekend too. And also, everybody, please do get smart. Thanks. So have a good one.